Hey guys, it's Matt. Looks like we're going to be running solo this week without Dave. He's been having to work a little overtime. So I've got a couple of interviews for you this week with a couple of Alabama locals who know a thing or two about Lake Martin. So I hope you guys enjoy. First interview is going to be Bob Blackerby. I think a lot of you know him on Instagram and social media. He had some good information. I think the interview lasted about probably 35 or 40 minutes, but we had a good time talking. And then after that, I got about a 15 or 20-minute conversation with David Kilgore, who's been on the show several times. He has some good insight and some things there that might help you. Sorry getting it up a little bit late this week. Hopefully you can get some knowledge for it and might help you in the fantasy picks, or it might convince you to keep who you got. I'll run down my fantasy picks real quick, and then we'll get into the interviews. Bucket A, I've got Dustin Connell. Bucket B, Kelly J. Bucket C, Mike McClellan. Bucket D, Greg Vinson. And Bucket E, Wesley Strader. Went pretty heavy on the local guys, I think, because of the way this lake sets up. These guys live there. They've had a lot of history there. They kind of know what to do. Practice was cut short for a lot of guys today because of the heavy thunderstorms that went through. A lot of them who were out there ended up taking shelter under a lot of the boat docks, boat slips, getting out of the heavy rain and lightning and hail. The lake's going to be changing the next few days. Looks like it's going to be getting dirtier with the rain and all the runoff. So I think the local guys might have an advantage on that. We'll see, though. Hope you guys enjoy the show, and we'll catch you next week.
Hello.
Is this Mr. Bob Blackerby?
This is Mr. Bob Blackerby.
How's it going, Bob? This is Matt.
Hey, Matt. I'm doing good, man. How's everything going with you?
Not bad over here in the Memphis area. It looks like we just got a little bit of rain pushed through here heading your way, I think.
It's arriving right now. It's been pretty and sunny here all day, but I've just went out and looked out across the front porch, and it's dripping off the house. According to the weatherman, we got plenty of it coming too over the next till probably about lunch tomorrow.
Yeah. Sounded like it's going to be a little bit wet across the Alabama region this weekend too.
It is. I think it's going to clear out of here for maybe Thursday and then move back in here again on Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday we got another round of it coming through. So, we getting our fair share. I can promise you that.
Well, that makes it pretty tough on this weekend. Warriors are itching and ready to go fishing.
I guarantee you it is. Yeah, it's going. I've been sitting here looking at a map of Lake Martin and looking over things, and I'm gonna fish a tournament down there. I entered a BFL down there for next weekend, so and have been watching the weather, so I do know it's going to be interesting on them this weekend or in the next few days.
Yeah. So, that's why I wanted to get you on the show. Dave couldn't make it tonight. He's kind of tied up with work. He says he's tied up with work, but Tennessee is playing at Rupp Arena tonight. Tennessee's right now.
He snuck away.
So he might have snuck away and either gone to the game or he's watching the game and trying to work at the same time. But last I saw at halftime, I think Tennessee was beating the Wildcats, as we call them this year. So we'll see how that goes. They've had a down year, so we got to take what we can get.
I hear you. I hear you.
Kind of like Alabama. We just got to take our moral victories wherever we can with Alabama.
That's right. Well, sad to say, I don't keep up with much of it other than the football.
Well, that's what really counts, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Basketball's interesting, but not like football.
Yeah. I love me some Alabama football, and you know that.
Oh yeah. And tomorrow is National Signing Day. It's kind of just when you think football season's over, it's kind of like another Christmas, for a lot of teams.
Yeah, that's right. Get to see who we're going to get to replace some of these that's going on to bigger and better things.
Exactly. I'm really interested to see how old Jeremy Pruitt can see if he can take one or two away from you guys. I don't know if he can.
He might. He might. I'm curious to see how he does with Tennessee up there. So, y'all got you a good one though. That's for sure. So,
well, as I say, if you can't beat them, hire them.
That's the corporate strategy. Y'all and a whole lot of other people. So, anyway, we'll keep farming them.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. You're just kind of like the saving tree. You know, that you got one falls off now and then, it goes over and starts another dynasty somewhere.
That's right. We'll train them well for y'all.
Well, Bob, let's talk a little bit about Lake Martin. I noticed you fished down there quite a bit and had some success. And we like to do our fantasy picks the week of the big elite tournaments and FLW tournaments, and figured no better person to get inside information. I know a lot of people listen to the Bassmaster guys on their radio program, and you read what the pundits are writing on the internet, but I like to hear it from somebody who has been on the lake, experienced, you know, firsthand what the lake's like, and maybe get a little insight on, you know, maybe like a second opinion on what that lake might be setting up for this weekend.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've got a tournament coming up down there next week, so I'm already starting to watch the lake. And of course, I think the weather's going to be a big factor with these guys going down there, because Lake Martin's a great lake. It's I hate that the weather's setting up the way it is, because I'm afraid, you know, the lake's not going to be able to shine like it could. You know, it's a good fishery. There's a lot of times there's not super heavy stringers weighed in it, but it's getting better. The lake has gotten some blueback herring in it, but they're not as abundant as in the lake as they are in a lot of other lakes. And so you know, I'm anxious to see what these guys do down there in the next few days. I'm anxious to see if some of these guys can key in on some of that blueback herring type bite. But at the same time, with the weather that we've got coming in, it can, you know, I've been looking on social media, and I see a lot of these guys on there practicing, and I see that pretty nice green water that they're fishing in, and I know with the amount of rain that we got coming, it's probably going to change, and it's probably going to mess up some of these guys. So you know, I know it'll push them south on the lake, you know, more down towards Kalijah and down towards the dam, and to look for that cleaner water, but you know, probably the upriver type stuff, and it'll rise pretty good. It's a flood stage lake, so it'll fluctuate too. So, but these guys are the best of the best. They're going to do good at it. Of course, you got quite a handful of guys that, you know, are locals around here that's got good knowledge of the lake, that can adjust with it, that knows pretty much what's going to be going, you know, happening with it, with all this rain that we've got coming. So it's definitely going to be interesting. But I believe the upriver stuff, you know, and on the north end of the lake, you know, I think it's going to be really muddy by the time this rain, you know, gets there and starts turning it around. So, but you can fish this lake several different ways. You know, you can get on a good, you know, shallow water flipping brush and lay down on the sides of the banks to fishing, you know, deep drop shot spoon type stuff in these ditches, and so it'll be a very interesting tournament, and it has a lot of fish in it. You know, I say this, you know, it's not the weights may not be, you know, big in it, but I don't think limits will be hard to catch. Of course, it's more of a spotted bass oriented type lake than to me it's more spot bass than it has largemouths. So it's not really hard to go out there and catch a bunch of 12-inch spots, but catching those big ones, and there's big ones there. They live there, and I'm sure these guys they're going to show them to us.
So you said that you know, you can get out there deep and you can go shallow as well. Do you think this time of year with the water getting muddy, does that kind of push the needle more towards the shallow water muddy, or do those deeper schools of maybe spots, not, or maybe they're not as affected as much?
Well, these fish, I don't think they seem to be when it first gets muddy, it just kind of shuts that bite down. And that's kind of what I see fixing to go on with them, with the rain that we got coming in tonight, it's going to take it a little bit before it really gets to the river system. And I just, I see that bite, when that water really starts to get, and when I say muddy, I mean muddy. It'll get pretty rough and pretty bad. That bite, it'll go away for a few days. But they'll start feeding back. But the bite in the cleaner water, I mean, that it just always seems to be. It won't hardly affect it. That's why I think a lot of these anglers will be on the move. Trying to find that cleaner water. So. Of course, you ask that question, and I'm more of a shallow water fisherman, so I kind of live and die by it. And I know, I mean, I fish the dirty water. I'll fish it too, but yeah, just trying to find anything that's that's the cleaner of the dirty. If that makes sense. So any of the coves around, we try to get away, the cleaner ones versus out on the main body and main river of the lake. And so,
do you know about what the water temp is right now? And do you think with this rain, do you think it'll make any effect if it goes up or down?
The weather here is warmer than, and I've been watching the weather. We don't, we've got a lot of rain coming, but we don't have any major cold fronts. We got a little dip coming through, when it clears back out for Friday. Not nothing major. I mean, it's going to drop maybe 10 degrees and be right back up for the weekend for this next band of showers coming through. So I don't foresee it dropping a whole lot. So I don't think the water temp will affect these guys on the fishing as much as it's going to be the water clarity and the muddiness that they're fixing. The waters that they've been fishing, it's been pretty and emerald green waters and all that they've been fishing. It's probably fixing to turn into looking like hot chocolate here in about another couple of days.
Yeah, and
I think that's going to play more of a factor to them than it will be the water temp.
What's your go-to pattern, or maybe a couple different lures that you would use when that water gets muddy and you're a shallow water fisherman? Would you just make a run on some laydowns and docks, or would you crawl a jig, or what's your go-to?
Well, me personally, I mean, on that particular body of water, I mean, I like throwing a spinnerbait, maybe around at a square bill, around some of the blowdowns, and even pitching a jig, not a heavy jig, just pitching maybe a 3/8 ounce jig and stuff up around those blowdowns and those trees and working them hard with a spinnerbait and a square bill. And, and I like throwing a rattle trap at that lake. That lake does really good, especially this time of the year, throwing a rattle trap around in those flats, working between the laydowns and stuff like that. But like I said, it's a really good lake, and I'm really glad to see bass come there and hold an event like this. And hope others will start coming here too. But it's a really good lake. But it fishes good too for these guys. Throwing a Carolina rig, these finesse fishermen with a drop shot and stuff like that. You're gonna see a lot of guys catching some fish on a drop shot at this lake in deep water. And like I say, it's gotten blueback herring in it, and I know those herring are deep right now with the temps that they're dealing with, and I'm anxious to see if some of these guys could key in on something down there and maybe teach us about a new bite that's going to be going on with them herring down there. So
yeah. Well, you see the map of the lake. It's really sprawled out. Kind of reminds me of Table Rock and Bull Shoals, the way it just really, has a lot of fingers and coves and creeks and different little bays.
Yeah.
Is this going to be?
Yeah, there's.
This going to be something where a guy can camp out in one little stretch of creeks or arms, or is this going to be where he needs to be moving?
Well, he can. I mean, like I say, there is a pile of rocky points and stuff like that there. This lake is renowned about people putting out brush piles. I mean, it's going to have lots of deep water brush piles that these guys are going to be throwing big jigs and stuff in. And I believe you'll see a lot of fish caught on that. So, but I believe these guys will get in certain areas and they'll concentrate in those areas. I don't think you'll see. I think once they get settled in on the first day, I think they'll kind of stay pretty well where they're going to be. There's some good fishing, good creeks in here. Up and down it, and they've got floating docks on them, and so some of the like I say, it is at the winter pool. The water is down, so but some of the docks are still in the water. So, and there is some deep water on the downriver side of it. It's got some deep water and clean water. It's typically a clean, clear water type lake. So that's another reason why I say that the rains that we get, it will muddy up with the rain, and the types of rain that we got coming in right now, it'll probably definitely muddy it up. So, and that'll, I think that'll play a factor for them guys catching them.
A lot of people are picking Mike McClellan to win. Just like I mentioned, it's kind of a table rock looking, sprawled out, rocky clay kind of bank. But it's also, a lot of people think the jerkbait's going to come into play with this colder water. You think the jerkbait is kind of a good way to at least keep moving down the bank, moving in these pockets?
I think these guys that throw the hard plastic baits, the jerk baits, and even the big crankbaits and stuff like that, I think they'll do well here. I really do. And like I said, I mean, I've thought about it over the past few days, and I'm anxious to see what they do. But too, I really think these guys, the Aaron Martins and some of these guys like that out there that's really good with a drop shot, I think they'll be able to do good here. And but like I say, there is a handful of guys that are in the tournament that have fished this lake over and over, and they do know what's fixing to go down, and I think they'll be able to make some good adjustments with what's going on. And I think Mark Daniels will be one of those guys that'll do pretty good. That could have a chance. I think he'll know how to make the adjustments he needs to do to the weather. And of course you got Russ Lane and Matt Herron and Micah Frazier and Dustin Cannell. And I mean, you got all these guys that's fished it, and fished it for years, and but probably none no more than Greg Benson. And that's really Greg's one of his home lakes. So
he's notorious for fishing, jigs and soft plastics, isn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, if Greg would definitely be one that would be in my top picks. That's for sure on this particular body of water.
Speaking of other locals, a lot of people say Kelly J lives up there.
That's right.
Pretty close to the lake, probably closer than anybody, maybe other than Greg Vinson. But Jay, Kelly J kind of shows up every now and then he'll disappear. But I think a lake like this is probably where the locals can kind of shine a little bit. You might have a little advantage when things get tough.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. I think it's setting up it really good for that. And I know these guys. They're probably excited to see this weather coming in because I really think it's gonna throw a crick in a lot of the other guys fishing. But these are the top guys in the nation. They know how to adjust too, so they're going to do well. But yeah, Kelly. I didn't think about Kelly, but you're right. Yeah, he'll be in there too.
What about like the Lee brothers? I don't know if they fished over that way much growing up in college.
Yeah. Them and Gerald, and and like I say, and they'll probably do well, and they'll probably do well at it.
Let's see. So what do you think an average daily weight it would take to make the top 12? I'm hearing a lot of people saying 9 or 10 pounds. for the first 2 days will get you a check. So it sounds like a lot of those spotted bass being caught.
Well, and it is. And typically that lake, and that's true of that lake, typically if you're catching and, in a tournament, if you're in that 14 to 16 pound range, I'm going to bump it up a little higher. And I'm going to say maybe, somewhere around in there, 13 to 15 pounds, somewhere around in there. I think those guys will be in the, if they can keep an average like that, I think they'll be in there for the last day. And as far as a check, yeah, I mean, it'll drop down a little lower than that. But, I think they'll catch numbers, though. Like I say, this lake's it's a healthy lake. And, the herring they're not as abundant in here. I look forward, Smith Lake a few years ago, it was kind of like that. You could go there and catch numbers, but it really wasn't that great on the size. And now if you look back at Smith Lake, it's turning into a phenomenal fishery. And I really hope that Lake Martin's going to end up doing the same thing.
What about any rookies that? I say rookies. I'm including even the guys that aren't really rookies, like Strader and Jin Fukai are coming in. Do you think anybody in that group has an advantage over anybody else? Or, I mean, could anybody in that group? I know there's a local guy. I think is Bill Weidler, who's kind of
Wilder, Bill Wilder, and that's the one that Bill's from here, and there again, Bill's another one that has that local knowledge to know how to adjust on that lake. He's also fished, several of these tournaments like I'm going to fish down there in a couple of weeks, the BFLs and a lot of these other tournaments that have went on there. He's fished them, with the airport marine trails and stuff that we have here, in the state of Alabama. He's fished them and fished on that lake. So he's got the knowledge too, on the lake, to do well too. So, he's going to be a pretty good one on a rookie, to do good there too.
Is this typically a real busy time of year for tournaments? You said the BFL's coming up soon. That's kind of early. I mean, I'm used to BFLs on the Kentucky Lake area starting in March. But it sounds like the further south you go, the more ready the fish are. Is that kind of an early time of year for BFL down there?
It's about the time they kick off the first one, and I hadn't fished the BFLs in several years, and I saw this one, and I'm fishing the Costas, the Southeasterns, and the Centrals, and I plugged in the Bama division on the BFLs, and all of them fell into place to where I could fish them. And I said, I ain't fished them in a while, and I like the setup on them. And I said, I think I'm going to go give them a shot this year. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, it's the first one. And you're right. Yeah. I mean, of course we were at Okeechobee, for New Year's, and I haven't even had a chance to get back on the water since then. And so I'm looking forward to getting down there next week and start beating around on Martin and getting at it. But that'll pretty well kick it off. I mean, of course our local lakes around here is probably just like yours and everywhere else. There's something going on every weekend. So
seems like it earlier and earlier.
Yeah, the bigger ones are. It does. It's year round. It's year round now. So gotta love it.
You think any of the local traffic will kind of affect the way guys fish? I know it's kind of a deep lake; they can stay back a little farther. But we saw how we've seen tournaments where they get close quarters, like on Grand fishing docks. A lot of people coming up these coves, and those coves can get crowded all of a sudden, and all those people coming in watching. You think it's going to be on that level, or is it kind of a remote kind of lake where you won't have much of a crowd?
I really don't think it'll be that. I don't think it'll be bad. And then the other thing that's got going on is we do have. I mean, the only pretty day that they have that they're going to be able to fish is going to be Thursday, and the temperatures are going to be down. But by then, I think the water's going to be coming up and starting to get pretty pretty muddy on Thursday, and you know, a lot of people are at work. We got rain forecasted for the weekend. But this lake, I mean, there's not going to be a lot of places that's going to give them close quarters for, you know, for these guys to come in and give them much pressure. So I think it'll be good. I think these guys will enjoy fishing here. And like I said, I just, you know, I was hoping that the weather was going to turn out good and they'd be able to do what they wanted, you know, where they wanted to do it. Because there's several places in here that's got some good fishing in it that, you know, I think the weather's going to limit them to being able to go and fish them the way that they need to be fished. But it's a nice place. Lake Martin's nice, and Wind Creek State Park, where they're putting in and out, it's a wonderful facility. And with a campground there and a super nice boat ramp there and plenty of parking, so they'll be able to accommodate everybody there for watching the weigh-in. So it'll be nice.
Good deal. Well, will this be the first tournament you fished this year?
No, I was actually at I fished the Costa Series New Year's at Okeechobee, and when we were down there for the 1 day.
Oh yeah, that kind of got ended abruptly, unfortunately.
Yeah, it did. It did. You know, I hated it. Anyway, it definitely wasn't a good start to start the year off. So,
are you going to be competing in all the Costa Southerns?
I will. I am. I like I say, I'm kind of behind the 8 ball now. With that tournament at Okeechobee, I didn't do good. I was zeroed on the first day, and I just, you know, I've been fishing for 25 years, and, you know, fishing's a humbling sport, and everybody tells you that. But I mean, I can't remember a tournament that I've been in that I could not get not one single bite. And it just, I mean, I fished hard, but it is a day, you know, once it got on into the afternoon, I think the harder I fished, you know, I just couldn't get bit. And, you know, and a lot of guys only got one bite and caught one fish, but, you know, it was the weather conditions that we had that was dealt to us, and it was really tough fishing. So, you know, I don't have any points, but I am going to continue and fish on through the next one at Seminole, and then the next one at Santee, and but I will be fishing the Central Division too, so I'll be up there in your neck of the woods.
Oh yeah,
we're going to go to we get to come to Barkley, and we get to go to Barkley, and so we'll be there I think in June, and then I guess I'll be I think it's maybe April, go to Table Rock, and then in the fall we'll go to Lake of the Ozarks. So hopefully I can do well on that and make a championship through that one. But if I made the championship through the Southeastern, it'll be a miracle. But I'm going to do the best I can. So,
well, David and I are going to be the following Monday. We're going to be on the lake with Brent Anderson doing a little TOS guided trip on Kentucky Lake. But if I don't have a tournament going on that Saturday, I'll try to come up and catch you up there at Barkley. You guys are coming at the perfect time for Barkley.
Yeah, good. Yeah, we were there last year, you know, and fished it out on the Kentucky Lake at the Kentucky Dam Village, and you know, that's the first time I've ever been on the lake, and man, I loved it. I could see Kentucky Lake being one of my favorites. So,
oh man, it's just man. I mean, the northern end of the lake is starting to flip over and starting to be a little better. I think the Asian carp are really affecting bass from one end of the lake to the other, though. So, and Barkley too.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that happens this year.
Yeah, well, that was one thing I learned there last year. Whenever we was fishing, you kind of get on a little bit of a bite out there somewhere on one of those river ledges, and when those carp started getting closer, moving in, man, it was over. I mean, and so yeah, wish they could do something about those things.
Yeah, me too. Unfortunately, it may be beyond
nothing you can do.
Maybe beyond any kind of major effect. We can keep them under control probably if we can get that commercial fishing business economy up to where they're paying a fair price to keep those guys out there more than once a week or so. that's where it'll be.
Well,
That's
maybe
where
they
we can make
can.
it.
Yeah, because I could definitely tell it last year. Like I said, whenever they started coming in, it would seem like those bass. I don't know if they just left or shut down or what, but they didn't like that.
Mm-mm.
So
Yeah, they used to have them ledges
well,
to
who you
themselves.
got in your pick?
Well, let's see here.
At Martin.
Let me get to my fantasy page, and I'll tell you. So far, I'm kind of in line with a lot of what you're saying. I got a little local flavor in there.
Yeah.
That's I think in bucket A, I'm sticking with Jordan Lee for now. I think he's really coming into his own.
Yeah, he's just so relaxed and in his fishing. Yeah, those boys are they good.
Yeah, I think that that classic win last year added a lot of confidence to him, and of course Matt Lee sort of just fed off that confidence, and they communicate, they travel a lot together, they talk, they know that lake well enough. I think they're probably sharing ideas, and it's basically like being in two places at once when you got a team like that. So I got Jordan Lee. Kelly J is my bucket B pick, another local.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are picking Jesse Wiggins and Randy Howell up there at the top. But which not bad. I mean, Wiggins, he's probably caught him a few spotted bass over there at Smith Lake. It's just down the road.
Yeah.
So he might know how to. I know Smith Lake's a pretty clear lake, but he might know how to catch them when it gets muddy too.
Yeah. Well, this lake will fish a lot like Smith. It'll be on the lower end when they get down there around Kalijah and Blue Creek, it's going to fish a lot like Smith Lake. So,
that's interesting.
Them guys will do good.
You might want to look at check FLW because I know they fish Smith Lake a lot. Check and see how Shin and Strader have fished there before. It might be something to look into.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think on the lower end, I think your finesse fishing guys they can do well on this lake. They can do well, and I think Aaron Martins would be one. I think he's got history here too. So, and been on the lake enough to know what to do. So he'll be one to watch too.
Yeah. Now bucket C gives me a little trouble. Looking at it here, Justin Lucas is on top. I think a lot of people picking him mainly by his name. Then Matt Herron, who might have a little experience there, but I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know where Asheville is. All right.
It ain't far, and Matt too has cut his teeth around here just like the rest of us. So, I mean, he's actually me and Matt are probably about the same. Both of us are about an hour north of Lake Martin, and so he's not far. He just lives right here on the other side of Logan Martin, but he's fished all these Alabama lakes. He knows all of them like the back of his hand. So he'll do he'll be able to make adjustments there well too.
That bucket C right now, I've currently got Mike McClellan, kind of like I mentioned earlier, a little jerk bait action going maybe. But he can also pick that spinner bait and that crankbait up too. Pick that rock crawler, War Eagle spinner bait up, probably knock him out. And then I'm going Greg Vinson for bucket D. I think that's another local. I got confidence in Greg. He had a little down year earlier last year, kind of rebounded a little bit late, but I think this is as good a place for him to shine as anywhere else.
I agree, and I really think this is going to be his chance. This lake here is going. He's done very well here. I know some guys that that are friends with him. So and I know they're brush pile sinkers, and so he's going to know where a lot of those deep water brush piles are to be throwing. To be working over hard. So he's like I say, I guess if I had a pick, he would probably be mine right now. He'd probably be the local pick to get for me on the lake.
My last pick I've been sitting on Wesley Strader, thinking mainly because I think he's done pretty well over at Smith Lake. He's not far from Smith Lake. He can get over there,
Yeah.
practice when he needs to, but he's got tournament experience. He's just a good stick. I think he's ready to come in as the elites and give him a run.
Yeah.
But you might have me talked into Bill Weedler.
Yeah, Bill. The same way with Wesley. A lot of these new guys that's going over, going from FLW to Bass, and the same with the rookies. They all want to come in and solidify themselves to be there and to do the best they can on that first year. And so these guys, it just seems like they're going to work that extra little bit to do what they need to do. So yeah, they'll both do good, do well there. But Bill's got a little history on the lake as well. But like I say, I couldn't rule out a Dustin Cannell or even a Russ Lane on this lake. Russ has got a lot of history on this lake too. And,
that's one I hadn't thought about. But he's a pretty good cranker too.
Yeah, exactly. And I think these guys, this lake, they can catch fish here on a crankbait just as good as they can a big jig, here. So. So yeah, it could be good. It could be good for them too.
I think you mentioned Micah Frazier, didn't you?
Micah Frazier is another one. He's fished these. He's from South Georgia, right down there. Down close to the lake on the other side, over in the Georgia side over there. So he's been on the lake too. So he knows his way around over there too. And yeah. Yep, he's going to be another one. He's not an Alabama boy, but he does have history on the lake as well.
Yeah, right now he's only 0.6% owned. So that, if you could get somebody like that, and he finishes just one spot above somebody like Wiggins.
Yeah, and now Mark Daniels is another one. Like I say, he's another one that's going to have some experience. There's going to be several guys that's going to have a little bit more head knowledge as to how to adjust and and where to go on there. And he, I think he's another one that's going to be able to maybe do well here and shine a little.
How about you? You got a lineup set? You play that fantasy?
I
fishing?
don't. I didn't. And like I said, I didn't. I hadn't played the fantasy fishing with them, but I have been watching them, and of course, I'm big in social media, and I really stay on there, and I watch them and watch what they catching, and try to keep up with them there. And I definitely will be keeping up with the tournament each and every day, and good possibility I'm gonna try to go down and watch some of the weigh-ins and while they're down there, and would love to go down and may even go down and get on the lake. I'm not sure. And just, I'm going to wait and see what this weather does. And I kind of know the areas that I'm going to fish and whenever I go, and I'll probably end up staying up in the northern half of the lake. And if it looks like it's going to be really muddy this weekend and no need for me to really be concerned with it this weekend, I may not worry with it, but I wouldn't mind going and putting my boat in and see if any of these other guys is fishing anything that I might be fishing. So anyway, but yeah. So but I have been keeping up with it. But basically the guys that I've mentioned, and even not being a local, some, like I say, like you're talking about the Shins and even the KVDs, some of these guys and McClellan and some of these, like you're talking about, some of these guys that are really good with a crankbait and a jerkbait and some of these, these really hardball finesse fishermen like Shin and Amori and some of these guys, they could shine here on this lake. So. And I really hope that they get into something on, some of these deeper water or some of this herring bite that's here, because there are some good stringers on this lake. I know everybody kind of telling you that, that you can, it may be around 15 pounds or so a day. And tentatively that's right. But but there are some really good stringers. It wouldn't surprise me if some of these guys bring in some 18, 19 pound stringers, on the first, at some point on one day.
Yeah. I'm thinking with the way the weather's setting up, if these guys can figure out something, and Thursday is the best window of best weather, they may lean on them.
Yeah. They may. And Thursday it looks like the sun's going to shine, and then they got rain moving back in for Friday, and then storming again on Saturday, and through the weekend. So, but this rain we've got coming through tonight, I guess I'm more watching it right now. I want to see how it impacts the lake, and about what time what time it's going to hit and how it's going to impact it, and how it affects it. Weathermen could be wrong. We might not get as much as what they're anticipating, and if we don't, like I say, these guys, I mean, they may smash them, and I really hope they do. I hope they don't have to jockey around, on tournament day and try to find something new that they hadn't practiced on. I hope they can settle in on what they got and go with it. So
I hope so. And well, Bob, I'll let you go. I appreciate you giving me a little bit of your time. You said you're on social media. We see you a lot on our chat when we're doing some Instagram lives. Give everybody your Instagram, social media info, and they can follow you.
Oh yeah, y'all can find me. I am on Twitter, I am on Instagram and Facebook. Y'all can find me at Bob Blackerby Fishing, and come on in and give me a like. I'll like you back, and I always enjoy seeing y'all on there, and getting to watch y'all go out on the big Kentucky Lake. Give y'all a hard time about football. So anyway,
anytime you do that, you're welcome. Anytime you want to come on the show, you're welcome too. Maybe we can catch up at the Costa, or if you want to come up and fish, just holler at me. You got a weekend you want to come up here and learn Kentucky Lake, give me a holler.
Well, that'll be good. And like I say, I'll be there about a week before the Costa. So if you get an off day, give me a holler. I'll be glad for you to jump in the boat. We'll go out for a day.
We'll do. I appreciate the offer. I mean, it'd be fun. At least we can go out there and I can show you where to eliminate water. I'm good at that.
There you go. Well, anything will help.
That's right. All right, Bob. I appreciate it. I'll let you go, man. Thanks for the info. We'll put this up. We'll add it to our show. We're going to do the second half of the show tomorrow night when Dave's back. We'll add it up on there, and I'll share your social info on there as well.
All right, Matt. I appreciate it, buddy.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Hello.
Hey, Dave. It's Matt.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing good, thank you.
Good. You guys get flooded down there?
We did. Yeah, it rained a lot.
Yeah, it looks like a big band of storms was coming through there earlier today. Hail and lightning and thunderstorms.
Yeah. That's right. It started at probably 3:30 this morning, and it rained. Well, it started raining last night, but the bad stuff come through probably 3:30. It rained for, I don't know, it rained 2 or 3 inches around here, and it rained probably at least that much in South Alabama. So,
well, we thought we'd get you on the show. I'm waiting to hear from Dave. I don't know if Dave's going to make it this week. David Rose is going to make it up on the show or not, but just thought we'd get in touch with you. I know we talked earlier on I guess it was, we haven't talked since ICAST, I guess, but we've been meaning to get you on, and then
that'll be about right, yeah.
Before you know it, holidays catch up with you, and it's deer season, duck season, and everything else.
That's right. Everything gets in the way. That's right.
It does. But figured we'd get
now
you on.
Now it's fishing season.
Yeah, now it's fishing season. So how was your off season? Did you get out and do any deer hunting?
Yeah, I do. I deer hunt a lot. I deer hunt here around the house a lot. I used to go to Missouri, and I killed a big one in Missouri this year. So had a pretty good deer, can't complain. So
that's good.
I like it there. Missouri's a different world than the South. So
yeah, you got a few more hills over there than you do in Bama. I imagine.
You got a few more hills, less wood, so you can see
them. Yeah.
But,
yeah, they step out in them fields.
They're high visible. Yeah, that's right.
That's good.
So,
How about
don't seem to be near nervous as they are around here.
Oh, yeah. Well, I heard you guys got pretty good deer population. It sounds like the season's still open from what I heard.
Yeah, we've got a great deer population. Seeing there's not a problem. I can see, it's 30, 40 sometimes sitting on certain shooting houses. I mean, that's not a problem. I just, obviously trying to kill the big ones, it's difficult to do that. But
yeah.
So I've gotten too picky in my old age. So
well, yeah, after you've killed a few and got your meat taken care of, it's easy just to sit back and let them little ones pass.
That's right. I do it way too much. So
just a lot of watching, huh?
That's right. I just do a lot of watching. Spend a lot of money and just do a lot of watching. That's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, it's like duck hunting. Duck hunting's a lot of watching too, but for me, we've had a pretty bad year. We didn't have the ducks. Then we got a lot of rain. Everything flooded. And then right after that, we got too cold. So it's just one thing or another. Before you know it, duck season's over, and you've spent all this money on new decoys and new gun and everything else, and you haven't really got your money's worth out of it.
That's right. Mother Nature can twist. She can twist any hunting season the way she likes. So, yeah. They're not all perfect by no means. I wish they were, but they're not. So.
Well, how about the fishing? You've been, I know a while back, an old coworker, Mark Copley, was out there with you up there on Smith Lake. Looks like you got one really good, I guess it was a spot.
No, it was largemouth.
Largemouth.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to go with him at Mark's friends. Mark was staying at his friend's house, and I just had a little while to go with him. I was tied up with the kids for a Christmas deal that afternoon, so I just got to go with them that morning for about 3 hours. And yeah, we ran into a good one there, so we had fun. So
good photo opportunity.
That was, oh yeah, it was. I had him to take my pic, so yeah, it was. So he had fun, I think. So that's what matters.
Yeah.
So fishing I hadn't really done. I went with Mark, and then I went and ran my boat before I went to Florida last week. So, and then I was down there at Toho last week for the first Southern Open, which didn't do so good, but that happens sometimes. So I can't do good in all of them. I'd like to, but I can't. So,
yeah.
Yep, that's Florida. So I think I was 89th out of 209. So.
Ooh. Well, hey, you're top 50%.
Yeah, but we'll do better at Norman next time. So,
yeah, I hear you. You still sporting that beard?
I am.
All right. Is that a 2018 mainstay?
For a while, yeah, probably for a while.
Until it warms up.
Till my girlfriend tells me she don't like it, and then I'll probably cut it off.
Okay. So. That's probably a good idea.
That's the plan anyway. I'm gonna keep it till someone, till she goes, I cut the beard off. Okay, I'll cut it off.
Yeah.
So, but until then, no, I'll probably have it.
So when's that next open? Is it Norman? You said it was on Norman?
Yeah, May, second week of May, maybe something like that.
Okay.
It's up Norman, which I love that lake, so it's a lot like Smith. I've done good there before, so that time of year, actually, I've done good there, so I'm tickled with that one coming up. So that'll be a good one, and then of course
you gonna dabble in the Costas?
The least. No, I was gonna try, but my situation with kids, if I wanted to, I'd have rather done the Costas really, just because their schedule. But no, I'm not. I mean, I wanted to real bad, but with the Opens the way they are, and they're only taking top 10 in the points of the championship, which, if you have two bombs in the first two, what's the point in fishing the last two?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You have nowhere to go. So, you kind of, I think they'll have to get that expanded and get it out to, 30 or 40 from each division, where at least you have a shot to get in,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But we'll see. I think they're going to have a hard time filling them up. I think they'll figure that out this year.
Yeah, I think so by that third event.
Third one's at Champlain. I mean, so what Southern boy is going to drive 24 hours that has no chance in the points to make the top 10? Why ain't going to drive 24 hours one way to go spend $4,000, and you may not make a dime? You may just lose money. So that part's going to get, a lot of people's going to have to make choices then, but we'll see how it works out. So that's why I got to catch them at Norman and get back in the points race.
There you go. Well, if you win it, I think you got a good incentive there.
Oh yeah, that's
definitely,
right.
Definitely going to make that trip north then.
That's right. So got to go there with my hat on correctly.
Yeah.
So, and then they're fishing, of course. Elite Series is at Martin this week. So
yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. I've seen some of the results in the past. Looks like you've been there before, and we don't normally hear much about it.
Yeah, I haven't been there a lot. I mean, just because it's geographic area to me, to where I'm at. But it's a lot. I mean, it's just a bigger Smith Lake, and of course, the fish are a little bigger at Smith because we've had herring a little longer than Martin has.
Yeah.
But it's real similar to Smith. I mean, it's just a giant Smith Lake to the eye, looking at it.
Uh-huh.
So with this rain and this flood and this water coming up, there'll be a lot of fish caught. They'll be able to fish run-ins. They'll be able to fish run-ins for a couple of days. Then it's supposed to start raining again Saturday, so they may be able to do it 4 days. So they'll be able to fish run-ins. They'll be able to, fish clear water if they want to. Then the people that like the dirty stuff, in those creeks, that's probably how it's going to be won, in my opinion. I think it'll be one creek fishing. So, in the dirtier water now that they're going to have a lot of dirty water,
Yeah. Do you think those spots go up shallow?
Do I now?
Do the spots get up shallow once it gets muddy like that?
They will. They'll get easier to catch. Yes, they'll get easier to catch. And now I have a kid screaming here, hollering at me.
I hear him.
They will, the spots will come. I mean, if they live around the dirty water, they'll get, it just make them easier to. I'm not saying they'll really move much. I'm just saying if they live in 6 or 8 feet of water in a creek, when that water gets dingy, they'll be easy to fool. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So, gotcha.
Just make it a lot easier to catch.
So you think the bank beaters, spinner baits, crankbaits, stuff like that, jigs, jerk baits maybe?
I think that'll be of your top 12. I think, that lake really hadn't made the turn. I mean, it's got them, but they've only been in there a couple of years. So in the next couple of years, that lake will be put on the map. Now, I don't think they've got real widespread and all over the place and all that. So give them another couple of years to spawn, that lake will really be something. So,
and then I guess the blueback, you said, kind of really helps them fish get fat.
Just get so fat. Yeah, I mean, it has so much state and they get so fat. I mean, it's just, look what it's done to the spots on Smith. It's just, I mean, you catch them this time of year, and some of them, they look like, if you touched them with a needle, they would just explode in your boat. I mean, they're so fat, they look ridiculous. I mean, It's like, how can a fish get that fat? That's what it's done to the fish there. Put it in there. I mean, they'll get full of 3.5 pounders. That's kind of like Smith is. It's full of 3.5 pound spots now. So
good deal.
But I think with this watercolor, the bank beaters will. I think they'll do real well. I mean, and of course, obviously the bank beaters can catch largemouth. That's kind of why I say that they can catch both. So that's my opinion.
Yeah. Who are just name a couple of the Alabama locals that you think might have the best chance of doing, finishing at the top 12. You see several Alabama guys, and some of them aren't necessarily nearby, but there are a few that are.
Oh, you've got a lot of them that are from there. I mean, Dustin Cannell. I mean, he don't live far from there. He's going to be very familiar with the lake. The Lee brothers went to Auburn. They're going to be very familiar with it. Russ Lane's fished that lake a ton. Kelly Jay's fished that lake a ton. Who else? Matt Herron's fished that lake a ton. All you Birmingham guys have, been there a lot. So there's going to be, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 of them that have fished a lot there, so, and they'll be the ones that, don't need. Of course, this practice day today was, no pun intended, was a wash, I think, for them. But they'll be the ones to, look out for, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it'll be, there will be a local advantage there. I mean, just because they'll know what part of the lake to be in. That lake's so big that, there'll be areas of that lake you just don't need to be in. So, and they'll know where they need to be. So they'll, I think those guys will have a really big advantage. So,
yeah. I saw that Kelly J, even on his Instagram this morning or last night, he didn't even bother going out today. He knew the rain was coming. I guess he knows that lake well enough to know what it's going to take to get a decent limit. There's no sense.
That's right. I mean, I
don't
really know him. I don't really know him, but I just know I know he's fished that lake a lot. So, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, he, and I think he likes to throw a jerk bait. So, if they get any kind of wind, which they're going to have after this front, they get wind in that clear water, folks like that, he'll be tough to beat. That'll be one that'll be in the clear water. Obviously, you're not going to be throwing a jerk bait in dirty water. He'll be fishing in clear water.
Yeah.
But the guys, you Dustin Canals and all them that don't mind getting them shallow, those guys they'll do pretty well, I figure. So, and even your Smith Lake guys that are Jesse Wiggins, for instance. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesse understands how to fish Smith better than anybody. So will he catch him down there? I'm pretty sure he will.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll have a big advantage there. I'm not saying he's ever fished a lake in his life. I'm just saying he can use Smith Lake mannerisms and fish there and probably do real well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And he proved himself last year too, as a rookie.
Oh, he did great. Yeah, that's right. So it doesn't matter where he goes, he's gonna catch him.
Absolutely.
But, a lake like that's so close to his home lake, it's hard not to put those guys in there. I mean, just because. So
yeah, you're talking about.
But I think that a lot of the Alabama boys will do well. So
well, that's good. Good. I think this will be a pretty interesting tournament. We'll see how this rain affects it. Like I just wonder if the river or the lake's going to come up. You think it'll come up another foot or so? Or I don't know how this water really affects.
It takes it a while. See, the rain's just getting out of there right now, so it'll take it a while to start coming up. It's probably not started up yet at all, but by in the morning it will be starting up. I've just watched all this at Smith over the years, know how it works. Yeah. By in the morning, the lake will be coming up. Yeah, I mean, if they've had some rain down there in the last week or two, and all of it's going to run off, if they got 2 or 3 inches of rain down there today, that lake could come up a couple of feet. So.
Yeah.
And then with a weekend rain, it may be up 3 or 4 feet by the time the tournament's over. So it could, that could throw a wrench in it, or it could make it a lot better, which I think it'll make it a lot better in my opinion. So
wouldn't be a big tournament unless there was some type of major change in the weather. It seems like.
Yeah, that's right. It's not going to be 70 and 50 every day like we always hope it is.
Yeah,
so, that's right. So
that's the way it goes.
But they'll catch them. I mean, I don't think it's going to take a ton to win. I mean, that lake's very hard to catch a big bag on. So, you catch 13 a day. Catch 13 a day there over 4 days, you're going to do real well.
Yeah.
So,
man. So there's going to be a lot of 7, 8, 9 pound bags probably.
There'll be a lot of 8 and 9 pound limits, Wade. A lot. Yep.
Kind of sounds
and
like
those
Beaver
guys
Lake.
will call. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Those guys will call 5 or 6 times to get to that. It won't be like they're not catching fish.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part. Of course, we are in the time of the year. You'll see a 17, 18 pound bag probably. It is that time of year.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw an article Jordan Lee did. I mean, he's right. As far as the state of Alabama goes, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Lake Martin. It's a great lake, great recreation lake. But as far as weight-wise, that's probably the poorest weight lake we have in the state. As far as catching big bags every day,
Yeah.
It just is. I mean, it is. What's the saying? It is what it is. Well, that's the way that lake is. So you may go catch 17 one day, but you may catch 8 the next day. That happens there all the time.
So the typical practice of, some guys don't like to lean on their fish too much. They like to manage them. Is that something they can do on this lake, or do they just need to go catch what they can catch?
This lake will be, if they've got an area that's got them, and somebody gets to that 14-pound mark or 15, I'd be pulling the plug. That's just me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd go somewhere else, and fish. I mean, I wouldn't lean on them,
Yeah.
So, But that's me. I mean, no, I don't think this lake you can go. If you know they're there, I do not believe you can go just hammer on them and then go back the next day and catch them. No, I don't. I think you're going to have to manage them and have several areas to go do it.
Yeah.
So,
or sit there and guard the place. I saw that on Cherokee last year.
That's right. And there may be some of that vertical fishing. That's right. There may be some of that. But they were smallmouth fishing. You know, that may not be as prevalent on spots, you know. I mean, if you find little spots got them, you know. Sure, if they find the right bunch of herring wadded up, you know, if they find the right bunch of herring wadded up in a creek, that guy's going to hammer them. And you can hammer them every day. I mean, at daylight, they'll pull in there and just smoke them. And you may get them early and just leave, you know, and do it the next day. Mm-hmm. But that may be, I didn't mention that, but that could be a deciding factor. Someone finds the right creek that has the herring in it right now, you know, that could be a really, really, really big deal. If you see someone win in one little creek, you know, that's maybe 2 or 3 miles long, if you see somebody win in a creek like that, well, they won in there on a bunch of herrings, what they won on.
Gotcha.
So
they found the school of that bait.
Well, that's right. That's right. They find the bait running up and down that creek, and the bait never leaves it, and they can go in there at daylight. And those herring fish in the winter, I don't care if it's 5 degrees, they bite at daylight. Huh. I mean, the herring go to the back where the water's running in. Herring want the water coming in with the oxygen. They go to the back at night, and then they swim out in the morning. And when they're swimming out, the bass just wait on them and gorge themselves.
That's pretty clever. I didn't realize they did that.
Yeah, I've seen it happen 100 times on Smith. I mean, that's how you do it this time of year. You just find where they're at and get where they're going to be, and just right there at daylight, it's time to catch them. But it quits. You've got about an hour and a half of it. You know, when that sun starts up, I guess the herring go on out deeper and disperse. Yeah. But it'll quit. I mean, you've only got usually about an hour and a half, 2 hours of it, and it's over. So you got to catch them while you can.
Wow. So that is key. That first spot those guys choose, if they were to find something like that, you would probably see them jump up on the leaderboard pretty quick. And the rest of the day, it's more of kind of looking around for similar spots and.
That's correct.
Protecting their area.
Yeah. If you see a guy at daylight, if you're watching bass tracks and you see a guy at daylight, you know, if they're blasting off, I think I saw 6:15. You see a guy at daylight by 7:30, it's already got 14, 15 pounds in the boat. I'm 99% sure he's catching herring fish. Yeah. You know, so, and you can catch them quick. So
interesting.
So, you know, I didn't think of that point. I'm just going off Smith Lake knowledge, but if you see that, that's what they did. So.
Awesome.
And that could very easily happen there. So we'll see. Time will tell.
It will.
So.
Well, Dave, I got one quick question for you. Are you going to be at the Classic?
I am not. No, I'm not going to the Classic this time. Unless they're in Birmingham, I try to avoid them unless I'm in them. So.
I hear you. Yeah.
I mean,
you get tired of walking around and people ask you how you did that day, right?
Yeah, you know, years ago, you'd go and just be happy to go help your sponsors. And it's not like, I mean, it's that far off. When it's around here, you know, sure, I go help my sponsors. But when it's, when it's that far off, it's, you go there and you think the whole time you wish you were in it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it'll be interesting there. That'll be a neat Classic. So.
Yeah, it will.
But no, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it this time. So.
All right, maybe we'll catch up with you some other time. Next time you're coming through town and we'll stop by HQ, just come on by and say hey.
That'd be great. I sure will.
Yep, we'll come down there and we'll get Copley out there and have him pay for lunch.
That'd be great. I'd love for him to buy my lunch.
Yeah, me too. So. Anytime I get a free lunch off Copley, that's a good thing.
I hear you. I hear you.
Well, I appreciate you giving me a little time, some insight on that lake. A lot of our listeners, like I said, aren't familiar with it, but it sounds like you sound like you got some patterns there dialed in that we hadn't thought about. That's pretty good info. Appreciate that.
Sure. Well, don't be a stranger and give me a holler. I'll be glad to do it anytime.
Will do, man. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
See you.